God. Oh, I'm so gorgeous and smart and amazing. Oh, you missed it all. All the genius. I already shared it. We're done now. I forgot that I had turned down the sound on OBS, but it's up now. So you missed all the genius. Anywho, that was it. No, that wasn't it. Greetings, minions, and welcome to our live stream that I actually get to keep on my channel. So I'm super, super excited. I am so sorry about my volume. I was blabbing and I didn't even see you guys telling me about my volume, but everything's fine. I wasn't muted. I'm not smart sometimes, you know? So I love you guys and I adore you. And I'm really glad that you're here because today we are going to talk about something really, really important that people just don't talk about. Today we're going to talk about mental health. And I'm going to talk about my mental health issues and experiences. And if you're comfortable, you can talk about yours. You can share. You don't have to share. You don't have to talk. You don't have to chat at all. If you just want to sit back and take it in, that's fine too. But it's really important that we talk about it, especially right now, because things is, well, crazy. Yes, I also blame technology. I did go through and say hello to each one of you, and then, let's forget about the sound thing. I'm brilliant. Let's just go with me being brilliant. Why can't I do anything without one thing being screwed up and it being my fault? Why? I don't know. Whatever. Oh, let's see. Okay. The volume was Uncle Paul's fault. I was wondering why I was turned down because I'm like, I never turn it down, but the girl does sometimes. And I didn't do it. It was Uncle Paul. Blame him. No, it's fine. So welcome. I'm so glad you guys are all here. I guess basically what I want to do, what I want to accomplish today is I want to have a conversation about mental health. And the thing is that, like, I read something the other day that said that people that have never experienced depression or anxiety are like really experiencing it at a crazy rate right now because, pandemic, everything's nuts and people are out of work and everything's really, really hard right now. So if you already have mental health issues, that's just piling on top of it. If you didn't have those before, now you're in the middle of something that you've never been in. You don't understand how people focus and get through that kind of thing. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Oh, I'm so glad you love my hat. This is what I call my quarantine hair hat because quarantine hair. Uncle Paul and I need to cut my hair again because it is crazy. Pandemic and Trump. Don't even get me started. Yes, the crazy stuff that is going on with that in the White House and with George Floyd and that all of that stuff. Everything is just really, really heavy right now. And it's easy to feel overwhelmed. I feel overwhelmed. You'll notice that I actually looked, I didn't think it had been this long. It's been 3 weeks since I put a Sims video up. And the reason is because I've been going through some depression issues. I'm feeling much, much lighter the past couple of days. So I think I'm through that tunnel, but it's been really, really hard. So if you are experiencing something like that, just know it's okay to step away from the internet. Honestly, it's better to step away from the internet because it's tough, Anxiety just getting groceries. Yeah, Adriana, this is something that I experienced the other day. I went out with Uncle Paul. We went to the grocery store. And I don't go out a lot during the pandemic especially. And so we went and we were in the store and we had our masks and everything was cool. People weren't maintaining social distance. There were a lot of people without masks, and I started having a panic attack in the middle of the store. Uncle Paul is very, very supportive. I hope everyone has an Uncle Paul in their life, and he handed me the car keys and told me to go because it was too much. But yeah, it's terrible. It's really, really terrible. Yeah, how has it only been 3 months? Isn't that crazy? Yeah. The thing is that everything's been too much for everyone. And personally, I think I've been handling it pretty well. But, sometimes I don't handle it well. And sometimes it becomes too much. It's scary. And panic attacks are really terrible. If you've never had a panic attack, for me personally, it kind of feels like I'm having a heart attack. It feels like an elephant just sits on my chest suddenly and like I can't breathe. And then I feel really overwhelmed and the room starts I don't know, moves weird and everything seems very, very close and claustrophobic. And I freak out. And that's what they're like for me, you know? Yes. Garen, I'm so glad that you're on medication. I firmly believe in medication when it comes to mental health issues because it does help. I'm on meds, and my meds, like my anxiety meds, because I'm on a couple of different things, but my anxiety meds, I'm on an antidepressant, anti-anxiety, and a mood stabilizer. And the anti-anxiety, it doesn't take my anxiety away, but it brings it to a level where it's kind of manageable, where I can like fight through it and get through it. Elora, that's very interesting. In my therapy group, we had a whole discussion about whether it was morally okay to step away from everything going on right now, since not everyone has that option. Personally, I think everyone has their own morals, but personally, I think it's absolutely crucial to step away. All of this stuff, even though it is important to have our voices heard, it's very, very important. It will be there, but you got to take care of yourself first, you know? I mean, if you don't take care of yourself, how are you going to take care of anybody else? Yeah, CK, I know what you mean. It's, you leave, and it's, so many people are out there for non-essential purposes. People are acting like the pandemic's over, and it's not over, you know? Exactly. Like Uncle Paul said, take care for number one. Take care of number one. I can't even read things. How do you shut your brain off? Okay, Peter, when I have racing thoughts, and that's something I deal with, and after I talk about this, I'll tell you guys about what my mental health issues are. When I have racing thoughts, especially if I get wrapped up in stuff that's going on, you know, current events, and I was actually dealing with some racing thoughts about a month ago. It was really overwhelming, and they were all very much based on the pandemic and based on health and how people weren't taking it very seriously. And my brain just wouldn't stop. And there's a technique that I learned in therapy. I did DBT, which is dialectical behavior therapy. It's basically how to people. And when I did it, we learned about all these different techniques. And the one technique that when it comes to racing thoughts that I use is called distract. And basically I find something else to completely invest myself in, like play a video game, music, you know, something that I can't be in the middle of those thoughts. And if I find myself drifting to those thoughts, I stop, which is another technique. I stop, I drop it, and I move over to distracting myself. And you can do that temporarily to get yourself in a good place, but you can't do it, you know, all the time because you have to deal with stuff. Let me tell you guys what my mental health issues are real quick. I deal with depression. I deal with anxiety. I have OCD, and I have BPD, which is borderline personality disorder, which is why I'm on the mood stabilizer. I've been through really special, awesome therapy programs, a lot of therapy. I've been through a bunch of different meds, and now my meds are really good, so I'm good. I'm in a really good place. It's just every once in a while things kind of dip for me, but we can get through anything. I really believe that we can, you know? I'm catching up on some of the things you guys say. Yeah, CL, exactly. Distract is a really helpful tool. But the thing is that you can't stay distracted. Like if I'm dealing with some racing thoughts or something that's on a cycle and I can't let it go and I can't let it go and I can't let it go, then basically you can distract yourself long enough that you don't sink into a depression or have a panic attack. But then after that, you really have to come and deal with it and figure out why it is that you're so focused on that. I have a really hard time when someone hurts me. I have a really hard time and I think it's because I'm borderline. I take it very deeply personally, and I have a really hard time letting go of it. And so that's something where I have to use the distract technique, because otherwise I would be in it forever, and it becomes kind of an emotional tornado. You know what I mean? Yes. Oh, I love it. Yes. Like the girl just said, a phrase that's helped her a lot with creating an anxiety tornado is and asking what if questions is a quote from Ninjago. What if there are no more what ifs? And that's the thing. When you're in that place and you're building this anxiety tornado, you say, well, what if this and what if this and what if this and what if that? And it becomes this big thing. And then it gets to that place where there's a point of no return. and then you're too far into it. And if you're dealing with anxiety and depression, that anxiety is going to throw you into a depression, and it can get pretty deep where it's really hard to control it. I hear you, Bennington. Yeah, sometimes I feel like I'm drowning too when I get wrapped up in it. Also, disconnecting from reality, that's called disassociation. And I find that I do that too. It'll be like, I feel like I'm not in my body or in the right room. You know what I mean? I'll feel like I'm completely disconnected, and that's called disassociating. It's basically the brain's way of saying, hey, well, you know what? I can't deal with any of this, so I'm going to go. And, it happens, but, You know what? Ariel, I agree. It could be the OCD. My OCD does tend to come out in very specific ways. My OCD normally it's like a time kind of thing. Like if I don't touch my desk in 30 seconds, someone in my family is going to die. I know it sounds silly, but that's what it is. If I don't touch that doorknob in the next 10 seconds, someone I love is going to die. And that's largely what my OCD presents as. However, that's been really under control lately. But it's been coming out in like chewing my nails down to them bleeding, and it's very, very painful. So it's hard to control it, It's hard to just put it away sometimes, And once, if you have multiple mental health issues, it's like once you deal with one thing and you're like, I got this, it feels like the other things are like, hey, while they're not looking, and then they creep up. So it can be a lot. It is really hard, Adriana. It is really hard to turn off your mind sometimes. Joshua, I give my clients homework, write down the things making them anxious in the moment, and then burning the paper to let that thing go in the moment. And that's very helpful. That's very helpful in the moment to like let it go if they are good at visualizing. Because I know that some people really aren't good at visualizing, and while they might do it, they might have a hard time really letting go. I really want people to practice stuff like that, though. It helps. Yeah, Quentin, I hear you. Bipolar, PTSD, generalized anxiety, that has to be really hard, breaking out of depression and going manic because you're going from here to here. And, it's tough, isn't it? I mean, it's really tough, especially if you have that kind of drastic shift. If you're bipolar and you have to deal with depression and mania, that's really overwhelming. I can only imagine. Courtney, a lot of people get stomach pains. A lot of people get physical pains when it comes to anxiety. Ariel, thank you for wearing gloves. That's really, really important. Watermelon Wolf, that can be OCD. OCD presents itself in very different ways in all sorts of people. Some people are like, they have to touch the window 3 times before they start their day. There are little OCD things like that, but it presents very differently in everybody else. But for me, that's how OCD presents itself. Yeah, I hear you. Nug says, my anxiety attacks, they aren't tornadoes, they're raging sea waves. It's like it crashes down, then goes away, then crashes back down again. Rinse, repeat. And that's the thing. It does feel like you're drowning. When you have a panic attack, it's like you're drowning, and it's terrifying. And the thing that's awful is that you're drowning, and you're not drowning in water. You're drowning in your own pain. And it feels like no one can help you, like no one can save you. Now, I want to say this real quick because I think this is incredibly important. 1, don't be ashamed. If you're dealing with any kind of mental health issues, don't be ashamed. I'm not ashamed, and I have all sorts of issues. Don't be ashamed. And don't be ashamed to get help. It is okay. It is perfectly okay. I encourage it. Get therapy, get on the correct medications, get help, talk to someone, because it makes a huge difference. It has changed my life. I saved my own life by going through therapy, by getting on correct medications. So you can do it. And if you are having suicidal thoughts, which I also deal with suicidal ideation. If you are having suicidal thoughts, immediately talk to somebody, because it's incredibly important that you handle that and that you stay with us, because the world needs you. I need you here. So please, please, please take care of yourself. If you don't have access to a therapist or anything and you need someone to talk to, there are, if you go online, obviously you're online, there are suicide not life prevention. That would not be good. There's a lifeline, suicide lifeline or something like that, that you can look up, and they do an online chat, which is really, really nice. I've used it before and it really, really helps. So, Ariel, a lot of people do come from a culture that doesn't understand mental health. As a matter of fact, I grew up in a family, and there are lots of mental illnesses all through my family, and my mother was dealing with some really heavy things, and she was completely unmedicated and in denial and did some really terrible things because of those. And in my family, you did not talk about mental illness. That meant you were a crazy person and had to be locked up, which is just friggin' ridiculous. I hear you, Ariel. If I don't do this perfectly from the start, I'm just going to throw up and not do it. Yeah, been there. Yes, suicide prevention hotline. Thank you, Jordan. I don't know, man. The volume things just screwed me up. Ooh, I'm Alive is another one. Thank you, Joshua. That's really good. Yeah, I really love that they're opening up, these lifelines are opening up more of chat, because a lot of us don't like talking on the phone. I hate talking on the phone. My anxiety goes through the roof if I have to talk on the phone, and it's terrible. So I'm really, really happy that they're doing those kind of chats and everything, because those are really important. Bennington, I know that the U.S. healthcare system, it is terrible. It is absolutely terrible. And it's very difficult to find a doctor sometimes. But there are resources out there, because ignoring your mental health it's not something you can do, because eventually things always find their way to the surface, always. And eventually it will catch up with you. So really do all that you can to help yourself now, and don't sweep it under the rug, because that's not going to be good for you in the end. All right, girl, that's really tough. Not having insurance or income and being unable to get the help that you need is really, really difficult. And that's something that's plaguing a lot of people in our country, especially now. And I wish that we would just go to universal health care, at least for mental health. I mean, that should just be a given. And it bothers me so much. Oh, Laura, that's terrible. The only time I ever tried a suicide hotline, they kept me on hold so long I ended up just hanging up. That's one of the reasons I like the chat. I feel like they're really reliable. I've been on the chats I've been on the chats before when I was really having serious suicidal ideation, and talking to them, all of the people I've ever talked to on those have been incredibly kind and not pushy, but like understanding. And they said things that I needed to hear, and it was important. By the way, I'm probably going to get emotional, because this is a very emotional subject for me, and I went through a 6-year breakdown and everything exploded in my life. And so I'm really proud of myself for pulling myself out of that. But I get a little emotional when I'm talking about mental health, because, it stirs up a lot of negative stuff. Let's see. Hey, Sophia, you're borderline too. Borderline club. That's awesome. I don't know. I always feel so bonded when I find out somebody else is borderline. I'm like, yes, I'm not alone. Yeah, see, like Ariel just said, Bennington, I developed heart and blood pressure condition, both of which are mild, because I ignored my mental health. Never ignore your mental health. It is as important as your physical health. It is very, very important. Oh, good. Elora, excellent. Yes, use GoodRx for good prices on meds, because you can get stuff seriously cheap on there, insurance or no insurance, which is wonderful. Oh, Riker's already cried. Honey, that's okay. You just go ahead and cry. Everything is fine. Elora, BPD gang, yee yee. Yeah, the thing is that, exactly, mental health is physical health. People do have that huge division between them, but it's not the case. If you are dealing with stuff and depression, anxiety, stuff like that, and you've never dealt with it before, drop me a comment, because I'm really curious about how many people deal with it on the regular and how many people are kind of brand new. Oh, Corpseland, that's great. I finally had the courage to make a therapy appointment through school to deal with an ongoing 3-year severe depressive episode, but it was canceled due to the pandemic, and now I feel hopeless. Okay, hang in there, okay? We're all going to get through this. And if we all stick together, I think it'll be easier to get through it. And you'll get that therapy appointment again. You will. For now, please use any online resources that you can. Please reach out. And if all else fails, please come and hang out with the Minion Horde. Come over to our Discord and just, we have an entire mental health section, mental health channel that's amazing. Oh, like Uncle Paul said, do I want to talk about toxic people and family? Okay, so it's story time, minions. Gather round. Everybody got your blankies and your meds or whatever. I come from how do I phrase this? An abusive family. And a lot of really messed up stuff happened when I was growing up. And the people in that family have done some really messed up stuff and kept doing messed up things, and particularly my mother. And I won't go into the details of exactly what happened just because it's painful to revisit, and I will get all angry again. And the thing is, though, that they were really, really toxic people. And I think it was 8 years ago, I became estranged. I stopped talking to them. I stopped talking to my parents. I stopped talking to my siblings because they were such toxic people. They were rotting me from the inside out. I could not get to a good place because this was constantly happening. It was just always there. And I was so scared to do it because it's a little frightening to be like, oh my God, I'm going to estrange myself from my family. But, once I said goodbye, I felt so much lighter. And I can't remember if it was before that or after that. I had this friend, and she was incredibly toxic. She tried ripping me off when it came to my own books, copying Vlad but making him a werewolf, doing some really terrible things. And I really didn't like it. And so I told her, look, I'm not happy with this. I don't like it. And then there was this moment that clicked that said, she's this toxic person. What am I doing? And I cut her out of my life, and my life got better. Don't be afraid to say goodbye. I'm a firm believer in doing all that you can to work through issues, to work through relationships, to make it work. But some people, you just can't make it work. Sometimes it's better to say goodbye. And so saying goodbye for me, saying goodbye to all those people, was saying hello to myself. And that's been wonderful. Ariel, that sounds like the smartest thing you could do. If he was literally slowly killing you, cut him off. You guys are you're worth it. You know what I mean? You're worth choosing yourself. Always choose yourself first. You have to take care of you. Don't feel like, oh, God, I'm a terrible person because this and because this and because this, and I cut them out. You know what? You're not a terrible person. They're terrible people because look what they've done to your life. I mean, I'm a big advocate for choose yourself. It's important. Good, Quentin. Block them on social media. That's actually really, really important. Oh, Peter. Peter, don't ever be afraid to talk to anybody in the Minion Horde, because I will tell you something. There are a lot of different fandoms out there, and there are a lot of different authors out there. But the Minion Horde is its own thing. Every single minion is very open-minded, very supportive, very willing to help, wanting to help. So please just immerse yourself, because I love you, and the minions love you too. Don't you, minions? You all do. You know you do. Watermelon Wolf, you know what? If you need to talk about the stuff that he did, because that talks 21 plus, then you know that you can go to the Void in Discord and lay it all out there if you need to. If you need to spill, then spill, because we're there for you. Excellent, Alora. I love that. Fortunate enough, my university has allowed for telemental health services, so my group therapy is now on Zoom. That's amazing. I have yet to use Zoom. I'm kind of hoping I can avoid it. I don't know, man. It's It's weird. I didn't know it was a thing. I didn't know Zoom was a thing until the world came to an end, Because, dude. Excellent. Good, Peter. I'm glad you're there. Yes, if you need someone to talk to and you don't want to talk like out loud in the Discord or anything, just ask somebody, hey, I need someone to talk to about this. And then I'm sure minions will pop up and say, hey, talk to me. And then DM them and get it out, because we're all there to support each other. It's very, very important that we support one another, because we're just this awesome group of weirdos, you know what I mean? And if we don't stand up for us, if we don't support us, then who's going to? You know what I mean? So let's take care of ourselves. I'm a huge fan of that, Bennington. The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of womb. Basically, choose your family. I agree. Absolutely. Because found family is the best family, You know what, Garen? Good for you taking the good out of the bad. You know what? You became homeless for a few months, but then look at everything that happened. You're free now of that toxicity, That is wonderful. Adriana, you can't talk too much on Discord. Psh, are you kidding me? I don't talk nearly enough. And that's lately, I've just not been on there because I told you I was going through some depression. So, I'll be back on it. It's just, I'm starting to get on there more, but it's been tough. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Look at all you reaching out and being amazing. That's the thing. It is really, really important that you know that someone's there to support you. And then when you're feeling really low, and if you're having suicidal ideation, if you're having suicidal thoughts, to know that there's always someone you can reach out to. If you have no one in like your IRL life, then you'll always have us. You know what I mean? You always have us. It's funny, Uncle Paul. I tag you all the time on Discord. You've literally said like 3 things. Okay, Elora, I first became suicidal when I was 7, started having recognizable manic episodes around 18. Gotcha. The thing is, Elora, it's interesting because everyone I've known who's borderline had become suicidal when they were around 7 or 8. I was 8. You were 7. I have heard of so many people right around that age. I don't know what it is, but it seems to be there's a connection there, and I'm not exactly sure. I don't know what it is exactly. Yes, everybody talk more on Discord because Watermelon Wolf is like queen of the memes and in love with Kratos. We all know. Don't worry, Kratos is in love with you too, I'm pretty sure. Quentin, you haven't joined the Discord? My feelings are hurt. Get over there. Do it. You know what? That's okay, Riker. If you don't feel up to talking, it's all right. You don't have to, And Ariel was also 8 when she became suicidal. That's the thing. It's really weird, isn't it? Like, that age, I'm telling you, there's something with the brain chemicals around 7 and 8 that just kind of do something. It's so strange, Yeah, something that has always helped me, too, is that... obviously, I'm a writer. Really. But whenever I'm dealing with issues, I will start writing. And those issues, whether on purpose or on accident, subconsciously, they get worked into my writing. And then I work through them because writing is wonderful therapy. I feel like I have to take all of that muck and then just vomit it onto the page. And it might not make it all better, but sometimes it helps me understand what I'm dealing with. You know what I mean? Seven, 8 is a time of transition for children, apparently. Riker, you never know. Talk to a therapist. Some therapists are hesitant to diagnose somebody with borderline. Some therapists don't want to work with somebody that's borderline. There's a weird thing. I talked to somebody that was that had gone through police training, and they were talking about what they had told them about people with BPD. And basically it was like, they're crazy people. So just, you know what I mean? And it was hurtful to hear those things because I have done some messed up stuff. And, I'll admit I'm not the most stable person in the world, but I'm not a terrible person. I just have mental illness. I mean, geez, Yeah, Sophia, you know what? I absolutely, absolutely dealt with bullying. I mean, most of you guys, I'm sure, know that. And bullying is the worst thing, man. It stirs up everything. It stirs up depression, suicidal ideation, anxiety, just everything. And it's exhausting, It's just exhausting. Yeah, Adriana, I hear you. Sometimes I feel so guilty to have these feelings or get mad because I can't say why, because sometimes I just don't know why. Yeah, me too. You know, honestly, if I'm having one of those days, where I'm dealing with anxiety or I'm dealing with depression or even suicidal ideation, which it's been a while. And my family can tell when things aren't right with me. And Uncle Paul will ask me, or the girl will ask me, everything okay today? You okay? And if I'm not okay, I tell them I'm having an off day. And then they understand. They know what that means. But it's important because they don't jump in to try to fix things. They just acknowledge that it's an off day and they hug me and it helps, Oh, Court, I can imagine. There's a challenge, huh? Oh. Okay. Catherine says, I genuinely don't know and would like to be more informed. When you talk about BPD, what specifically does it stand for? BPD is borderline personality disorder. Basically, I have a lot of abandonment issues because when I was very young, and you can always tie it to the childhood, part of it they think is a chemical thing, but part of it they largely think it's upbringing. I had really messed up childhood, and if you have a really traumatic childhood, it can give you these abandonment issues. And it's abandonment and perceived abandonment. Like if I get the feeling like someone is leaving me forever, then, and it can just be something weird that triggers it. I mean, it's not weird, it's normal, but it's not normal. But if I get, let's say, trying to think of a situation. Okay, let's say that I am hanging out with a couple of friends and one of those friends says, oh, hey, I forgot I have to go over here and do this thing, so I'll catch up with you guys later. And they go, I will feel very angry, very hurt, very overwhelmed and sad, and I will go through something called black and white thinking. And that is basically an all or none thing. Generally, people that are borderline hate someone or love someone. There's no in between. And so I will go from loving that friend that was hanging out to me to hating them for having left. And it's kind of a weird thing, but I deal with that, and I deal with it all the time. That's been the most difficult thing, really, honestly, for me, is being borderline. It ties into everything being borderline. It's overwhelming, and a lot of people hear, oh, you're borderline, and then they go away. But I mean, you know what? Those people are just making up their minds before they talk to me, and that means they don't need to be in my life. Devin, I am so sorry for your loss. That had to be really, really tough. Oh, Sophia, at least you found out, though, when you're court ordered to be psychologically examined due to custody issues. I'm glad that you found out, though. And if it took a court order, it's fine. However you come to it, you come to it. For me, oh, yes, thank you, Uncle Paul. For me, it was one of those things where I was going through this 6-year breakdown, and my life had unraveled. I should rephrase that. I had unraveled my life. And things were really bad. I got to a very, very dark place. I was self-harming. I was absolutely planning to end my life. And it was a really, really dark time. And so I started therapy, and it helped so much because I'm there, and I'm sharing my thoughts, and I'm sharing these things, and I'm learning how to human with my DBT classes. And I started learning, you know what? There's a phrase. There's a phrase that describes what it is that I do. And it made me feel like I'm not crazy. I'm not a terrible person. I just have a mental illness. And that was huge because it really made me feel like normal, because I always thought, honestly, emotions. I always thought I was a freak, to be honest. I thought you know what, everybody else is this way and I'm not. And so something's wrong with me. And it sucked. It sucked to feel that way. And, excuse me, getting diagnosed really, really has made my life so much better. And I don't care if people judge me for it. I don't care if people are like, oh, you know what? You're borderline. You're crazy. Yeah, you know what? I'm crazy. Whatever. I'm crazy in an awesome way. And I take my meds and I take care of myself. And I am absolutely proud of the fact that I have owned my mental health. Okay, let's see. Yeah, Sophia, I've heard that so much about a lot of therapists that turn people away because they're borderline. I'm trying to look it up. Uncle Paul said something. There it is. Some people are saying how it's difficult to write dark feelings. Do you want to touch on that? Yes, it is very difficult. It is very difficult to write dark feelings because two things. One, it's easier to avoid those feelings and to leave them alone in the dark. And if you bring them up, then you have to deal with them. And two, writing them can be very triggering and you can spiral. I have found when I'm writing about, when I wrote Madness was very difficult to write because I was very, very honest about what it is to be suicidal and to deal with depression. So if you are like even remotely anywhere near being triggered, please do not read Madness. However, if you're in a really good place, give it a try. It is a very honest experience because it's largely my experience. And I found that writing that it was the hardest book I ever had to write because it was so dark, because it was so honest. So I tend to write about things that are troubling me or hurting me. I tend to write about them through a filter. The Vlad books, and I'm sure you guys know, but some people don't know, the Vlad books were about me being bullied. That was me trying to get over those things. And it really did help a lot. So when I write something, it's like if something's there, I will take a lighter approach to writing it because it makes it easier to go, hey, I'm going to write about all these horrible feelings I had being bullied, but I'm going to do it through the eyes of a vampire. And it makes it easier sometimes. So it's kind of like, I don't know, therapy light, something, I don't know. And that is okay if you guys cannot read Madness. Yeah, Adriana, I know. I hate it when people use the word crazy when it comes to mental health, when people will say, this person's crazy. I'll say somebody's crazy, but I'm not talking about their mental health. I'm just like, that girl crazy. Because, some people are. And you know what? None of us are crazy, and none of us are freaks. But you know what? Even if we are crazy freaks, you know what? We're the best kind of crazy freaks. We're the Minion Horde. We have each other. How many people can say that they have a group they can rely on all the time for support? Only the Minions. We're the only group that can rely on each other all the time. So call us crazy. Call us freaks. We don't care. You just really wish that you were part of us. And if you want to be, come on over here. Jump on the crazy freak train. I'm just catching up while I'm blabbing. And there's nothing wrong with that, Quentin. If your writing is escapism, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Dealing with professional rejection with mental illness. Okay, and Uncle Paul, thank you so much for reminding me of things that are going on in the thing. It is really hard if you're a writer, you're going to get rejected. It's going to happen. Just count on no's because you're going to get a lot of no's. And then when that one yes comes, that's what you've been waiting for. So just know that no's are going to come, for one. For two, it's difficult because as a writer, most writers, we feel like our work is a piece of us. And in a way, they are. And if that piece of you is being rejected, you feel like you're being personally rejected. This is a really, really common thing when it comes to writers. You have to wear two different hats. You have to wear the creator hat and you have to wear a business hat. Most writers lean more toward wearing that creator hat, and that makes you very emotionally raw. And it's very difficult when you get rejected. But the thing is, you have to find a way to find balance, to step away from it and go, this is a book. This is a product. While I love it and I feel like it's a part of me, it's a product, and this is just business. When someone says no, don't assume that they are rejecting you, that they're saying you're a terrible writer, that you're never going to be a writer, that you're never going to get published. Don't assume any of those things. Those are kind of what if thoughts. Assume that you have to go next. No, next, and you just keep moving forward. Don't ever stop. The only way you can possibly fail is to give up. And keep those feelings. If you have those feelings, like you're like, God, I feel terrible. I got a rejection today. It was awful. Come and talk to other writers, And once again, I know I keep talking about our Discord, but I love it. We have an entire writers section in there. Come and talk, because it's really nice when you can commiserate with other writers. I don't think I would have gotten through my 14-year career so far if I hadn't had other writers to like complain to and cry to, and it's just crazy. I'm like reading, I'm sitting here. There is a lot of text today. Thank you, Uncle Paul. I appreciate it. Yeah, a lot of people don't remember big parts of their childhood, like lots of parts of their childhood or any of their childhood. I do remember my childhood. I really, really wish that, there are parts I really wish that I could repress. There are parts I really wish I could, leave, because I grew up in such an abusive family. There are things I don't want to remember that I do remember that stir up all sorts of terrible things. And sometimes you just want to break from those memories. I think that's why people repress memories, because their brain goes, whoa, no, can't even deal with this. I'm out, just like disassociation. And my brain apparently is like, hey, can't even deal with this, so we're going to. It's just, come on, really. Oh. Yeah, Sophia, I hear you. That's pretty common, So many of you repressed your childhoods. That's wild to me. Thank you, Garen. I appreciate it. Most days now, I know I'm amazing and awesome. It's hard to look back to a time when I knew I wasn't. I was wrong, but I knew I wasn't, and I didn't think that I was worth it. There I go. I'm so emotional. It's crazy. But I didn't think I was worth it. I didn't think I was worth saving. And I know now that I was wrong. I was wrong. Of course I'm worth saving. So the one person that could save me was me, and I did. And I hope that you guys realize that you are worth it too. You are so worth saving. You are so worth people's time, people's love, people's affection. You're worth it. You're worth it to me. If no one else, you're worth it to me. That may have something to do with your ADHD, Uncle Paul. I agree. Yeah, Garen, I hear you. It is deep stuff. It is. And it's all right to be emotional. I am absolutely okay with that, which is good, because I've gotten more and more emotional as I've gotten older. But that doesn't make it any easier. I'm never embarrassed to be emotional. Just know that I'm not embarrassed. It's just one of those things where I'm like, oh my God, here I go again. I'm so sensitive. But it's not like a judgment thing. It's just like a, hey, don't cry in your microphone thing. You're going to electrocute yourself, stuff like that. Corpseland, I see that approach. I do. I deal with painful memories by handing them off to characters to give them better outcomes, but it never really makes me feel better. I think the thing is that with Vlad, I didn't make it better for him being bullied. I think that his journey to kind of becoming empowered was really the journey I wanted for myself, and I didn't give him a definitive end when it came to that, but for me that helped. It was the hope, the thread of hope that was in there, which was really wonderful. I needed it. I still need it. I think we all need hope, especially now with this, with everything. Yeah, Elora, excuse me, goodness. Now my nose is all drippy. Elora, I absolutely get it. With my meds, I've gotten from constantly feeling like I wasn't worth it to at least being neutral about myself, which I guess is progress. That is absolutely progress. You're getting there, and you'll get to joy, and you'll dip, and life is not a straight line, and you'll get there. I really, really promise that you will just stick with it, stick with your meds, and just keep moving forward one step at a time, because that's what it takes. Yeah, I can imagine, Quentin. That's that's very lonely to jump through hoops to avoid anyone finding out about your childhood. There are some really messed up things that happened in my childhood. Uncle Paul and I have been together for 25 years, and I have not told him everything that happened in my childhood. And he knows a lot of the really messed up stuff. So it's hard because when you've been through, abusive situations, it's really difficult to share that with people that might not understand. And it's not like Uncle Paul's going to judge me or anything. I know that. But some of those things I don't want to relive, which we come to the whole, gosh, I wish I could just repress this kind of thing. No, you know what, Devin, please share it because I'm sure the minions want to hear it. Absolutely. Oh my goodness, Nug. I'm so sorry for you. That's terrible. That's absolutely terrible. You are so not judging me, Uncle Paul. Yeah, that's actually something. It's really wild too because I grew up with such a horribly abusive family, and I went through so much toxicity, and it had such low self-esteem, and it had dealing with all of these unmanaged mental health issues. And I'm fortunate in that I was able to pull myself from it and get therapy and get meds. And I'm surrounded, my family, Uncle Paul, the girl, little brew dog, Uncle Paul's mom and sisters and stuff like that. I'm surrounded by a wonderful family that loves me no matter what. So I know that I'm very, very fortunate now. Yes, I agree with Ariel. Don't force yourself to be positive if you're not. It's okay to feel, but to have support in your non-positivity. That's the thing. You don't have to smile all the time. Don't smile fake smiles. I've smiled fake smiles for most of my life. Years and years of fake smiles that I didn't mean. And now if I don't feel like smiling, I don't smile. Now if I'm sad, I'm sad. I let myself feel that emotion. If I'm angry, I'm angry. And I let myself feel that emotion. Sometimes the best thing you can do is fully immerse yourself in an emotion. And if it's a challenging emotion to experience, because there are no negative emotions and positive emotions, but if it's a challenging one, excuse me, if it's a challenging emotion to deal with, like if it is immense sorrow or if it's incredible anger, then give yourself time. Okay, I'm going to give myself the next 20 minutes to completely be there, to sob my eyes out, to curse somebody's name. Give yourself that time and then pull yourself away after it and go, okay, and now we keep moving. Because it helps you it's cleansing. Does that make sense that it's cleansing? Yeah, Uncle Paul is Uncle Paul, you're so awesome. You're really helping keep me on task too. Yeah, I think we talked about what if there were no more what ifs because the girl brought that up because, the spiraling thoughts. But one of the most important ones is don't look back. You're not going that way. And I have a real hard time not looking backwards because there's so much trauma there and I have so much guilt over things. So I have a hard time not focusing on the past. So the phrase that has helped me is don't look back. You're not going that way. And Uncle Paul or the girl will say that to me and it really, really helps me a lot. And sometimes I say that to them and it helps them too. And there are little things that are just kind of I want to say the word trigger, but not really. It's like a positive trigger that just reminds me to reset oh, okay, that's in the past. I don't have to live in that moment anymore. There's an important thing that you need to do. It's mindfulness. And mindfulness basically is living in the moment, not living in the past, not this is what happened, not living in the future, what if this happens, but living in the exact moment that you're in. Right now, I am sitting in my office. I can hear birds outside. I'm in my chair that's very, very cozy. I'm looking at the computer screen and I'm engaging in conversation with my minions. That is what's going on right now. That is a mindful moment. Just fully immerse yourself in the moment that you're in and don't focus too much on the past and the future. And it's important. That really has helped me a lot, especially when it comes to anxiety and depression, Oh, Nug, I'm so, so sorry. And yes, please, this is a safe place. If you guys want to share with the minions, please feel free to share. And yes, grounding absolutely is amazing. I make it an absolute point, and I do this with the girl too. I make it a point to like go outside and close my eyes and use all of my senses and then recognize what it is. If I need to bring myself down to zero again, and then open my eyes and I recognize this is what I see. This is what I feel physically. This is what I smell. This is what I taste. And I focus on those things. I ground myself, and it calms me down if I'm having a really anxious moment. It's important. Exactly, like the girl said, and like Uncle Paul said. Hey, Madeline. Madeline. I mess up names all the time. I'm so sorry, but I'm so glad you're here. Wrong kind of grounding. You're so funny. The thing is, Ariel, when it comes to like going through mental health issues and everything, and it makes you question your religion, I think you should always question whatever your beliefs are and reevaluate things and see where you are in your life and what it is that appeals to you and what doesn't. It may be your mental health getting in the way, and maybe not. And some people find religion to be incredibly triggering. Some people find it to be a relief, and that's all up to you. So just take some time with it and really sit with it. I'm not a person really that talks a lot about religion because I'm atheist, but it's one of those things that it's a personal journey, and I get that. And hopefully your mental health, regardless of religious beliefs, hopefully your mental health will be the first thing that you try to manage, because it's very important. Absolutely, Rin. Sometimes just being outside, laying on the ground is the most effective type of grounding. I know that virtually all of us like being indoors. I know we do. And being indoors is totally awesome. However, we need vitamin D. It's incredibly important to battle against depression. So go outside, be in the sun for a little bit. Take sunblock, but go outside every day for a couple of minutes at least and soak up that sunshine, because it's very, very important. Yeah, I hear you, Ariel. Make sure I rationalize everything. Watermelon Wolf loves being outside. That's where the memes grow. I'm assuming. I don't know. You are everything. You are everything, Watermelon Wolf. Autumn, the Watermelon Wolf. The Watermelon Wolf that grew in autumn. Or something. I don't know. Oh, Ariel, I hate mosquitoes. I grew up in Michigan. They're like the size of birds up there. Ridiculous. Hey, Riker, it may be hot and muggy, but you have palm trees. I don't feel bad for you. No, I totally feel bad for you. It's hot and muggy and gross. I hear you. Oof. Yeah, that's tough stuff, Joshua. That's seriously tough. It is. It's very important that we get outside and everything, especially now because we're not able to go outside. And I'm not saying go to a store or the mall or something like that. Nah, don't do that, because it's dangerous. It's not safe right now, and things are going to get really, really scary before they get better. But like go out in your yard or on your balcony or something and just breathe for a minute. Get that fresh air, get that vitamin D, and just go outside, ground yourself. Just take that moment, because it brings your anxiety back to zero, and it's just very, very calming. Have I seen the PS5 memes? I haven't, but Uncle Paul said that, I think he saw it on Reddit. He said that the new PS5 is like weird looking, so I don't know. I honestly, I don't care what it looks like. I love video games. I don't like the way the Xbox One looks either, but look what it has. It's amazing. Oh, Garen, don't do it though. Just because other people are out there doing the recreational shopping doesn't mean you have to be. I hate that people aren't taking this seriously. Yes, in a lot of states, the numbers are going down. People are not socially distancing, and experts say come September, there's going to be a huge spike because of this. So stay home. Wear your mask if you have to go out. Wash your hands. Don't touch your face. Stay at least 6 feet away from other people. It's not that hard to do. I really, honestly, I don't like that people aren't doing it, because those are the people that are responsible for the pandemic continuing, It looks like a router. Oh, that's so weird. Oh, cool, Rin. That's awesome. Far away from people, which is lovely. Look at all the pagans. Ah, oh, minions. There's so many pagans. My goodness. We talked a little bit about Wicca last night on Discord and a bunch of other stuff. I don't know. Very good. Local indie bookstores via appointment. Florida's such a crap state. You know what, Riker? You're not the only one I've heard say that. But let's be here. Okay. Florida's very important to me because it has Disney World and Key West and Minions. It has Minions too. But I mean, that's pretty much all I need. Yeah, Adriana, don't try not to feel too bad because pandemic. I mean, it's scary. It's so scary. If you have to touch your face, use the back of your hand. Yeah. Whatever you do, just never shake hands again forever. No, I mean, eventually we'll probably get to that. They're saying that socially, maybe it'll change like that. And that, I don't know, it'd be weird. So yeah. Also, one thing I want to talk to when it comes to medication, just real quick, because I know we're coming up on about an hour. When it comes to medication, just know that if you do go and get on meds, which I said I do absolutely encourage, if you do get on meds, just know that there will be an adjustment period where they have to adjust the kind of meds that you're on, the different dosages, and it can take a while to find the right cocktail to help you manage your issues. It certainly did for me, and all these meds have side effects, and so it can be a while to get through those side effect moments, and it can be challenging. It's worth it. Okay, it's worth it because I am so much better off than I was. So much better off. You know what, Peter? The graphics are terrible out there. Just terrible. Good, Ariel. That's awesome. You've never been to Key West? Oh, Riker. You have to go to Key West and you have to have a dessert pretzel because I love it there. It is so, so cool. Devin, that's a sin. They turned your local bookstore into a liquor store? What? You don't change bookstores. Remember when we had Books A Million? And Borders? Oh no, we still have Books A Million. We had Borders. Borders was amazing. So sad. Who said donut? I didn't say donut. I said pretzel. Yeah, Prozac that's something, man. I couldn't do Prozac. I tried. That was one of the ones I tried. But for me, I'm on Wellbutrin. And I'm on Lamictal and this other one. I don't know. I'm on 3 for my mental health. Riker, I really want to memorize that handshake, the Unisonis no touchy handshake, but it's it's complex. Oh, way to go, Alex. Way to say donut. Now you have to go and get us all donuts. There are a few of us here, so we're waiting. Go on, we'll wait. Get donuts. Hey, it says my video output is low. I am going to, because I'm not receiving enough video to get a smooth stream, blah, blah, blah. But we've been talking for about an hour, and I think we'll wrap this up now. And hey, Zan, and if you guys want to, we can always continue this discussion in Discord. We can always do another live stream at some point in time about whatever you guys want to talk about, because I'm totally, of course, here, and I totally love talking to you guys because you're amazing. But anyway, because YouTube's being a butt, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to end this today. But I want you to know that I am so glad that you're here. I'm so glad you came. I'm so glad that you listened. I'm so glad that you shared. And I'm so glad you are a part of things because it's really important that you know that you belong in the Minion Horde and that you're an important person and that you're worth fighting for. We'll fight for you. You fight for you too. If you have not, please subscribe to my channel and ring the bell so that you get notifications because, I do things and I'm trying to do more things. If you don't know, every Saturday I do a live stream reading. We're actually in 10th grade bleeds. Yeah, we're doing 10th grade bleeds now. Every Saturday I do it. but because of copyright reasons, I can't keep those live streams saved on my channel. So you have to experience it in the moment. Mindfulness. And if you don't experience it, then you don't get to experience it. So tune in every Saturday and it will be amazing. And I love you guys very, very much. So be good. Be safe. Remember, Pib Lindsay loves you.